The first thing I want to say is I'm going to support the amendment, although I'm supporting it for only some of the reasons that were stated by my colleague, Ranking Member Tim Ackert. My issue is, in fact, the tracking of the gender identity, race, and ethnicity information. First off, I couldn't disagree with you more about your comments about the equity pay gap or the gender wage gap, etc. I have done tremendous amount of research about this. I think that if people dig deep into that information, they will find there are plenty of reasons for why this data shows up the way it does. And I don't think this is the time or place to have that debate. I appreciate the fact that you made your comments. I'm going to refrain from making mine. We can do it some other time and place. But if there is a problem with what's going on in this committee or state government, it is that the state government continues to interfere in private contracts and merit-based advancement of individuals, regardless of their race, gender, ethnicity, and so on. The fact of the matter is the state wants to track this information so that they can engage in activities that benefit and or harm people based on gender and race and so on. And that's just the exact opposite of what we should be doing. People should be judged on merit and merit alone. That's how our country was founded. That's the only just and moral avenue for people to take. And the constant discussion about equity and benefiting people because of past inequities and so forth does not work. It is not beneficial to our society. You cannot fix the wrongs of the past by creating wrongs in the present or future. And as soon as we recognize that people should be judged on their merit and merit alone, we will be far better off. And it's frustrating for me to watch government at all levels continuing to put people into categories, treat people as if they are victims. The government's coming along to save them. People who argue in favor of merit-based systems and free market capitalism are somehow toxic because we're not trying to benefit one group at the expense of another. It's incredibly tiring. And, if I have one complaint about my own party, it's that we don't push back hard enough when this happens, because I believe we're right every time that we stand up and say that we're not going to stand for this equity stuff. We're going to stand for merit-based policymaking. My issue with this is that I don't think that the state ought to be tracking this information from anyone. I know that private employers are very cautious about doing so. In fact, on applications and forms, when they ask for people's race and gender, it's usually because the government's requiring them to. And usually they put a stipulation that says you only have to answer if you choose. I don't know what the situation is with these apprenticeship forms and whether or not the apprentice initially fills it out. But my objection to the bill before us is it implies that somehow the sponsor of the apprentice has to complete this information. And I can tell you that if I was the sponsor, I would be scared. I would be scared to indicate someone else's race or gender because of the litigious society we live in and the notion that somehow if you get it wrong, even accidentally, you could end up in a lot of trouble. So I think the best solution is to just stop tracking this information altogether and to stop including this type of information on any type of government forms or requirements in the public sector. So I'm going to support the amendment. And I know I said I wasn't going to debate you on the wage gap, and I did a little, but I look forward to another opportunity someday down the road. It's just important that both sides of these arguments are made publicly so people can make up their own mind. Thank you very much, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.